There's a new camera coming that I've been so excited for, and I've made a couple update videos on it in the past, and just yesterday we got to see the next major milestone. But before we get into talking about that, I want to mention a couple Black Friday deals that I noticed popped up. So Blackmagic just posted that they have 20 and 30% off their most popular cameras. So from the looks of it, you can get a PYXIS L mount or EF mount for $2,300 brand new. That's almost $1,000 off full retail price. And if you want a Pocket 6K Pro or a Pocket 6K G2, those also are $300 or $400 off. Sony, Canon, anyone else doing numbers like that? Nah. Core is also running some cool Black Friday deals. Specifically, let me grab one. The Nano U98X. This thing is normally $285, but right now you can get it for $155. And lastly, little self plug, I'm going to run a 50% off discount on all of my different courses right now. You can literally get my full DaVinci Resolve course for $50. You can get the iPhone filmmaking guide for $20. I always try to keep my education content as cost effective as possible, and now for this week only is just some stupid pricing. So now that hopefully I've saved you some money, let's talk about the Nexus G1. A couple of years ago we saw an influx of Blackmagic mod cameras, people basically taking like the pocket style cameras, modding them with 3D printed bodies, or just putting like V-mounts on the back or flippable screens. We saw a bunch of different kits because everyone loved the sensor and the quality that you can get from Blackmagic cameras, but at the time, the ergonomics were just not there in the majority of their cameras. Fast forward a couple years, now we have the 𝗬𝗧𝗨𝗙𝗙, we have the PYXIS. For their use cases, very much fit in a proper body style. Blackmagic calls the PYXIS the most riggable camera. And so a lot of these Blackmagic mod projects kind of died off. The kits you're not really seeing pushed as much anymore. But there's one project that I've just been really interested to see if it can make it to the finish line and wiggle its way in to a need in the market. And that is the Nexus G1. Really, this is a brand new camera coming to the market that just happens to use the Super 35 Blackmagic Pocket 6K's sensor. Everything else about this has been completely redesigned. Body, the mounts, the screen system, the connections, the ports, power distribution, like everything about it is so unique. Now in the past couple updates, it was mostly 3D renders that we saw. 3D renders are cool, but they're essentially concept cars. And we've all been fooled by those where we see this amazing concept car for something that's going to come out in like 3 years. And then when it finally gets to release, it's like, whoa, that's nothing like what I thought it was going to be. But now we have a new video update from Nexus, and I don't think there's a single render shot in it. The big thing that they're showing off here is the image quality that the camera shoots. To be honest, this I'm less interested in because most of us know how good the Pocket 6K, even the Super 35 sensor is. And so while it's nice to see that anything they've done to the camera hasn't ruined that quality and it basically just delivers a as promised sensor and codec camera quality, what I was more excited to see is the fact that we're actually seeing B-roll of someone handling and filming with the camera in hand. And like I left a comment on the video, what I'm stoked to see is that it looks like every promise they made from the 3D renders are included in the real physical camera. Now they claim that they are basically ready for precision manufacturing to go into production Q1 of 2026. Now this timeline has been pushed. I want to say these cameras were originally expected to like be in the hands of everybody by this past summer. But anyone who knows manufacturing and cameras, and especially not coming from a huge company like Blackmagic or Canon or Sony, we all kind of saw that original timeline was like, really? You sure? And so listen, obviously anyone who pushes a timeline, there is inherently some, not red flags, maybe some yellow flags in there. So this update was really nicely needed, especially because they did open up for deposits a while back to where for like $250 or so, you can put in for a Founders Edition version of this camera. The majority of the pricing for all the accessories and the camera itself is on the website. We looked over that in the last update video. And so again, seeing this in person, seeing the real physical unit being used, I gotta point out some things. One, let's start with the biggest con and see if that balances out with all the pros to it. Biggest con is the fact that this does use the Super 35 Pocket 6K sensor. They've done their best to counteract this with one of their leading accessories for the camera is a speed booster that directly attaches to the camera that gives you a active EF mount and basically gives you a full frame effect for your full frame lenses and everything. So, you know, that's something. But I think the person who is going to buy this camera is more interested in the functionality. It's easy for all of us to get hung up on these specific specs, but it wasn't until very recent years that you had Hollywood level cameras, REs and Reds and everything where full frame and large formats have become more of the norm. For the longest time, Super 35 dominated the whole camera space. So we know that the quality is still there. Again, the functionality of this camera just looks incredible. Not only all the different built-in mounting points to it, but the integrated 15mm rods, or I shouldn't say integrated, you can remove them, but the integrated space for the rods. One of the biggest advantages over what the PYXIS is lacking is not only built-in NDs, but it looks like an electronic ND system. So if I'm not mistaken, it plans to be like the Sony FX6 has this where it's like smooth transitioning. It's not like on my 𝗬𝗧𝗨 where like I press ND and it like wipes the frame. You can like adjust the intensity more smoothly with the ND. And finally, the biggest thing that stood out to me in this video was the 2 different screens operating at once. This, if you're documentary or you're someone who like is actively changing settings a lot and every second matters, having dual systems of this I think is so cool. Like obviously on my PYXIS, I can tap the monitor that I'm viewing myself on, go into the menus, make adjustments and go back. But on this camera, it looks like you're going to be able to be viewing whatever you're filming and making codec changes, audio settings, whatever setting changes you need at the same exact time. And that is so wild. So anyways, that is the update on the Nexus G1. Hopefully the next time I am making a video, I can have one in my hands to tell you, yes, this is as amazing as I hoped it was, or this thing sucks, whatever the opinion will be. It seems like we're getting closer and closer to that finish line, but the question I want to pose to you is, do you think this fits somewhere in the market? Considering it's about the same cost as a PYXIS 6K itself, which one would you choose? The one with the objectively bigger and better sensor because of its like dynamic range? Or since the quality of the Super 35 6K sensor is still so amazing, does the functionality of the body and the customization and the adaptability of the body give it more of an edge over the PYXIS? I'm always interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below. Again, don't forget to check out all those different Black Friday deals in the description. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.